Good morning and welcome to the semi-finals in the men's division of the Australian Division 2 Ultimate Championships. My name is Max Stenstrom. I'm joined in the booth by Gus McDonald. Gus, welcome. Tell us about the game before us.
The game that we're about to witness, of course, Max, is the Geelong Mudlarks taking on Krank from Wollongong. Not exactly sure what's going on at the moment. They seem to be preparing to play, though. The game advisors are involved in the huddles.
Preemptively addressing any concerns, I assume.
Oh yeah, just running over the old hand signals. It's very important. A beautiful day here in Wollongong.
Oh, it's lovely. We've got a serious breeze going on. Coming towards the camera a little bit right to left. We're very lucky to be down here in Wollongong. Big thank you to Destination Wollongong for their support in hosting this event. It is the largest domestic tournament ever played.
Really?
In Australia, yeah. Outside of a Worlds, we've never had this many players and this many teams in one spot at one time.
Outstanding. Well, yeah, just looking around the fields, I'm doing a bit of a survey myself from the position in the commentary box. It looks like just full of Ultimate players, you know? It's
700 plus players, 40 teams, 2 divisions. What's not to love? We've got Krank and Geelong Mudlarks, as we said. Krank having a tight win over Townsville in their quarterfinal, going up by 3. I'm not sure if it was the hometown advantage in terms of being used to these conditions that got them over the line in the end.
Very possible, very possible.
But they did get up by 3. And at the other end of the field, it's Geelong Mudlarks, who had a little bit of an easier run of it. They went up 15-8, I believe, over Fishwick Unit, beating the Canberra boys from up the hill. They did nicely there. I did manage to catch a bit of that game, and it was some Huck and D as their option of choice tactically. It wasn't a pretty game, but they got the job done in the end. And it looks like we'll start with Geelong on offense. And Krank will... Actually, apologies. Krank will play offense. Geelong will start on defense. As I said, wind coming straight into the camera, straight towards us. Just a touch right to left, perhaps. But it's been very blustery all weekend long. Teams have found it very difficult.
So here we go, the men's semi-final, Krank from Wollongong and the Geelong Mudlarks. This is going to be a game of ups and downs, of turns, of scores, of blocks, and Tim Booth. Well, that's going to be a name. Booth with the frisbee for Krank, Wollongong. They're working to the right of screen. They're going to swing. And the Mudlarks playing a loose man defense at the moment. They're now trying to work towards that end zone. Booth, good play to have with the disc. Booth goes dominator, grabs it with the layout. Maintaining the offense at the moment. All of the bid is there, but not quite. The block was not made. Krank, exceedingly messy. Their end zone set looks like a hot mess. And Booth, he's looking at absolutely nothing and throws some swell that nearly ends in it being a goal.
Such a tough shot. Such a tough shot in these conditions.
Oh, Gus.
Didn't have many options though, did he?
There was absolutely nothing. He was looking at a wall of red and black.
This absolute gale force winds right now. I don't know how they're stringing passes together, let alone attempting to play some ultimate frisbee.
Well, we're going to battle here, hold our tent down and batten the hatches. Here comes Inzi. He nods to Jake. Anglovich goes out and Inzi turfs it. And immediately there's a little bit of a discussion.
Krank opting to have a player sit in the lane there, causing some chaos, making Inzi's life difficult as the thrower. You see Dawson in that position, forcing a difficult inside shot.
It was a weird one. Looked like it was contact on the defender's body. And Inzi is demonstrating now.
I think you were standing still. Yes. What does it come in on?
Maximum 6.
You hear that from the game advisor. The disc will come back in on maximum 6 after a contested foul call.
Oh, and there's a huck. That's probably a good option. Anglovich in the area. Read best by Krank. And they get it back. Booth tries to get the reset. Is not there. A trap put on by Anglovich. The inside-out break looks pretty good. The disc pops up in the air. There's people in the area. Inzi wears it the best. Anglovich goes with the huck. He puts up a good outside in. But again, read best by Krank. Or is it?
John O'Keefe almost gives the Mudlarks a second chance on that one.
And now Krank again. They're off. They're off to the races. That far sideline. Ferguson comes near side. McCabe. Oh, inside out. That's a hell of a throw to stick into the breeze. Incomplete. John O'Keefe's letting it fly. No fear from the young man.
Yeah, I do want to talk about John O'Keefe. He's been a bit of a revelation for Krank this season. He's a short guy, but he makes up for what he lacks in stature with power and speed and agility, and he'll provide the reset for Booth if he needs it here. But he does not need it. He immediately goes to the end zone. And will he get on the second effort?
Oh, foul call by
and
Ferguson.
He's called a foul.
Oh.
Ferguson.
The reason I went there is because I hit it. Do you think you had your hand on it? I think you hit my hand.
It's a pretty close contest, this.
I thought I got the disc. No, I'm not saying you didn't get the disc. Oh, I know. Yeah, well, I'm saying I got the disc and you hit my hand. It was right over my head. You came in from the side. I felt like I got the It's coming in. It was over.
Contested.
Oh, yeah, I think that's a bit of a nothing call there by Jaden Ferguson. He hasn't really got a leg to stand on. The contest was somewhat vertical, if not him heading backwards. And he's calling a bit of a nothing foul on Joshy Phillip. Booth is going to go again. Nice looking inside out to the high side of the field. Flat forehand. Wow, what a throw.
Standing throw. McCabe pierces the gap, threads the needle. That's a bit of Wollongong experience, I reckon.
A laser through the wind, doesn't give a hint of angle that would allow the wind to get underneath it and get involved.
Already seeing a bit of a difference in the playing philosophies of these two teams. Wollongong looking to use that hometown advantage, make use of the wind. Mudlarks opting for a more aggressive approach.
The Krank guys did say they were willing to grind in these tough conditions. I thought that's an ambitious task considering just how blustery it is and how so many teams have opted for the territory game, the focus on position rather than possession. But it gives them some success early on in this match.
Now, I'm not sure what the story is here. Dan Rule is wearing a white Mudlarks shirt and no cleats.
I do believe that he tweaked his knee coming in just days before this tournament. He was listed as a player on the roster, and he had every intention of playing. As you see him jog slowly off the field, he unfortunately will be unable to join his teammates on the field, but obviously he's a pretty massive resource in the coaching department as well. Plenty of experience in that category, and he'll try to make good use of that here today.
Well, Krank, they scored, and they'll play D. It will be the Mudlarks sorting out their offense. We see Matt Hill out there.
Timmel, as he's known to his friends, also a very experienced coach, but this weekend he's been a bit of a cannon. That right arm of his unleashing hell on the other team. And he'll pick it up and kickstart this Mudlarks offense.
Straight away outside into the end zone.
That's huge. Far too big. Yards beyond the end. Not even close to landing in the field.
It's off to the beaches.
The disc wants to swim.
Can't blame it. They're not good conditions for ultimate. It's places that disc would rather be. These players don't get that option though. They have to push through. They have to fight these conditions the whole way.
Okay, and we see this common mistake again. Krank have set up in a horizontal for what reason, I have no idea, but good luck, boys and ladies. This is the Opens division, so there are a couple of women playing for both these teams. We've got Georgie Burchett for the Mudlarks, Sophie Bell as well out there for the Mudlarks, and I believe it's Rosie Dawson for Krank. The Mudlarks, they punch one in.
Both of those women on the Mudlarks team have been pretty instrumental for them, and I also had a chat to Alex Petroni-Vrand from Krank before this match, and he said Dawson's just been nigh on unstoppable in that under space. Her first 3 steps, incredibly difficult to keep up with, and they've been real threats all weekend long. As you watch there, a lovely forehand into the end zone for the goal.
Sophie Bell, a blue ball teammate of mine from the most recent Under-24 World Championships. Not sure if she's on the line for this one. She's loitering in the zone. And yes, she's going to jump on. So we're going to see a very exciting point here from the Mudlarks.
Both of their female players. Both their female players on the field at the moment, so this is going to be great. And Rosie Dawson as well out there for Krank.
There is in fact 2 MVP categories I've heard in this Opens division, a men's MVP and a women's MVP.
Oh, right.
Naturally, when you're the only woman on the roster, you manage to keep getting nominated. So I do believe Rosie Dawson is
going to be
a shoo-in for that prize. There are a couple of other teams in this Opens division with a woman on their roster, or 2. So we'll see how that goes. But I imagine Burchett and Bell for the Mudlarks have been having to split those MVP points. And that might have harmed their chances.
Tim Booth managed to break. Ferguson was active early in terms of calls. Back to Booth. Ferguson swings. Caught well. Disc was rising. Ferguson inside out. That one's not as good. And
Pops up.
Phillip sees it and gets it and then sticks it. Oh, and the wind catches it. And that disc is gone.
Booth was in the vicinity, but his defense was not needed. That one knifing out of the field of play.
Yeah, it's still rolling actually. Got to update on this for you. 2 fields over. It's finally come to a stop.
It's still going. Oh dear.
Wollongong seemingly playing as if there is no wind. Interesting strategy.
That's
just pretending that it doesn't exist.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. We'll see if it works out for them. That was Oliver Loughman underneath that one. Didn't realise the wind was going to take it quite as much as it did. And see Tim Booth asking for his offense to be shorter, closer.
Can't blame him in conditions like this. Oh, literally the worst position on the field to have the disc as a thrower you've got.
And again, this horizontal offense, and I don't know why. You are never going to reach the receivers, the 3 and the 4 on the far sides of the field, so why put it into a horo?
Don't say that to Booth. He'll take it as a challenge and he'll attempt the shot. Look at him. You can see him size up the options. He goes over the top with a hammer.
But luckily, the wind had died down for him, showing him a bit of favour. Ferguson breaks with a high release. Nice bid there, unable to bring it in. And then the forehand.
Glover shoots down.
Through his hands and it hits the turf.
Oh, and he's one I want to watch this game. Andrew Glover for Krank. They've dug him out of the nursing home, out of retirement. He's got plenty of experience, but I think most of it was racked up in the early 2000s playing in the green and gold. So I'm not sure how recently he's actually been on the field. And while he was very willing to put that one, maybe a little bit of rust on that throw.
Oh, Loughnan. He's given that forehand everything he had. And he nearly made a very, very good swinging pass. But Krank off to the races, going fast down that high side of the field. Looking, Booth now. This is who you probably want it with.
Oh, great bit. Second effort with the right hand.
Recovers it just as I put the curse onto Tim Booth. And then he breaks, and that one's another turnover.
That's a difficult shot into the teeth of the wind, that inside-out forehand.
Loughnan breaks. Hill pumps the backhand and then goes with it. It's a low throw and it dies into the turf.
Layout D from Tim Booth.
He's on the stat sheet. Pulls a Jimmy Todd Hill.
May have been more of a laid-down D, to be honest. Probably the most athletic play we'll see out of him all day, though. So
Rosie Dawson now in command. Dumps the frisbee. Gets the dominator. Looks. Goes with the forehand. Near sideline. McCabe. Back to Ferguson. Ferguson to Booth. Booth has an open receiver.
And it's Andrew Glover. He heard me say that he might have been a bit rusty, and he proves me wrong. Wide open in the front corner of the end zone. He's still got it. May have dropped a couple of steps in pace since the last time he was on the field, but still just as effective. Makes up for it with experience and timing. He's an old Colony player, and before that, he was playing with faculty, I believe. Pulled on the green and gold a number of times. Known as a speedster back in the day. And here he's just dominating with his timing, experience, and old man wiliness.
Gus, you mentioned local knowledge.
Yeah.
How much of a part do you think it's going to play in this semi-final here today?
I think it's going to be absolutely critical. We've already seen a huge difference in offensive tactics. The Mudlarks looking to jacket, even when there are 20 players deep. They're happy to still just look for that field position. Gong, on the other hand, just playing as if there is no wind, and it's been working for them so far. Miraculously, I don't really understand it personally, to be honest. They're just making it work. Those inside shots, very difficult. Keep them flat in this wind, still coming off. That shows the local know-how.
Well, Tim Booth in his 30th year, playing Ultimate.
Is that true?
No.
We see Mark Del Gallo back on the field for the Mudlarks. He sat out their semi with a sore ankle, clearly resting up for this game.
Oh, Timmel. And Matt Hill, he's put it up there, and it's ended up in the hands of someone.
Players flying everywhere, left and right.
I can't see who it was.
Body's going left, body's going
Jake
right.
Thomas. Jake Thomas has found himself with a goal.
Yeah, I think Timmel's got the angle right now. I think last time we tried the backhand outside in, got caught in the breeze and drifted, as we said, to the beach. It's gone for the outside in flick this time. Throwing it into the wind.
Well, we heard Gus's prediction. He says local knowledge is critical.
Yeah.
And Krank are going to win. Max Stenstrom, your prediction for this game, this semi-final, who's booking their tickets to the final?
Oh, I'm a Mudlarks man the whole way here. I saw a couple of birds flying around before. Now, I'm not an expert in birds, but they may have been Mudlarks. I'm not sure, but I think it's a sign from above that this Geelong team will be destined for greatness this weekend.
It's an omen.
Some auspicious birds out there in Wollongong.
That's right. They knew what was happening. They knew the team to support.
What's a crank? It's not a bird, is it?
I'm not sure. No.
It's an action. It's a verb. That's what it is.
To crank it up.
Yeah.
They're going to need to this game as it sits at 2 apiece. And Jake and Jelovic winds up his huge frame for the pull.
Now, this Mudlarks team made up a lot of Melbourne players, a lot of heads of state players that live in Geelong and can't be bothered driving the 2 hours to training, which fair enough. Booth inside, great throw there. Dawson underneath, seeing a lot of the disc thus far this game. McCabe to Booth, Gets away from Matt Hill. And Rosie Dawson, she's got a mile of separation.
She was wide open. She left her defender in the dust, caught napping completely.
I don't know what Oliver Loughnan was doing. He's been burnt. He is on fire. Someone call the fire brigade. We need some water.
Rosie Dawson ice cold as she made that catch. No mercy. Tim Booth, no hesitation as we watch that outside forehand again. Comes out of the hand, absolutely peachy.
You can almost see the conversation between Tim Booth and Oliver Loughnan. Oliver Loughnan has turned around and said, "You won't throw that." And Tim Booth has said, "Hold my beer, son. I've been throwing that for years. I've been listening to dubstep since before you've been born."
Listening to dubstep.
It might be possible that Tim Booth has been playing Frisbee longer than Ollie Loughnan has been alive. He's 16 or 17 on the Thunder team for the 2018 campaign in Canada.
Wow. I would say that it's actually probably close to a certainty then. But how good is Div 2? Nats bringing together the vast array of players from across the country, giving them an opportunity to represent on the national stage.
Some of these Geelong guys, we said, have plenty of experience. Some of them are brand new. This will be their first time at a national tournament.
Oh, Pete Nixon has to go a long way back to catch that pull. Matt Hill now with a long field, pumps it, looks for it, can't find it. Anglovich with the outcut, and there's a drop. So Krank go fast. Ferguson gestures in. The under's there, caught well. Gray has to return the disc. It looks like to be a pick in the stack.
Krank have a couple of players out in the lane at once. They'll want to clear this up. Especially in conditions like these, you want it to be extra clean with one player in plenty of space. Increase the margin for error.
Well, Anglovich taps it in. Ferguson still looking. Stall increases. He puts it in the breeze. And it's read very, very well.
That's the local knowledge coming into play. Whereas every other player in a black shirt thought that was falling about 8 metres short. Read like a pamphlet.
A courageous shot there from Ferguson as well. His dump, just giving them the old eyes there after the completion. It's a bit of a, I was available if you needed me.
He didn't need him apparently.
Right. Lets it rip into the wind.
See it again.
Oh, he did. He glanced at the dump and said, nah. Look at this trick. And Matt Hill, all he can do is walk away and say, next point, team, next point. Because they're not going to get it that one. We've had a timeout call on the field. Players want a chance to rest and recoup, recalibrate their defense and offensive strategies.
Well, we'll take a break as well. We'll grab a drink and we'll be back with more men's semi-final action here from the Australian Division 2 Championships. Well, as we break from the timeout, we come back with Krank in the lead, 4-2 in the men's semi-final, one of the two semi-finals. In the other men's semi-final, Max Stenstrom, do we know who is playing in the other semi-final? We might have to find out.
We'll do our best to keep you updated on that game. We'll get some reports from our on-the-ground reporter, Hilary Hume. We'll find out and keep you updated. But the story of this game so far, from my perspective at least, is Tim Booth's inside forehand. If Geelong Mudlarks can find a good answer to stopping that thing, that'll be a recipe for success. Gus, any thoughts on how to do it?
Yeah, no, I've just got an update on the conditions for everyone at home. The wind has teamed up with loose debris and dirt. Making it very difficult to see.
Difficult to throw, difficult to see, and that one bounces off Tim
Touched!
Booth's foot.
Touched!
Matt Hill's foot, and straight out the sideline.
Well, he's going to have to bring this in from the low side, and it's all uphill. Matt Hill has been the shooter. He has been the cannon, the artillery for the Mudlarks, and they've put someone in the lane to stop it.
He fires again. He's got people underneath it. Phillips, a crowd forms. It's going to float. It's going to hang. It's going to sail a good 25 metres out the back.
Well, I don't know how Timmel has found that gap. He was working against effectively 2 marks, and he's managed to huck it anyway.
We have got gale-forced winds. It is a tropical cyclone down in Wollongong this weekend.
I hope the weather at Division 1 Nationals is going to be better than this.
Doesn't make it easy. Tim Booth walking as slow as humanly possible, hoping for the wind to die down
He
before,
wants the gust to go away.
before he has to bring it back in.
Local knowledge again. He knows something everyone else doesn't.
And he's rewarded. The wind dies down a little.
And here he goes, Booth working against the 1-3-2-1.
Fearless hammer, visionary throw. The man knows no bounds. And Matt Hill goes the other way. Yes, he does. Backhand into the wind and into the turf.
That's rolling. Oh, it's rolling. Still going. Not looking like slowing down anytime soon. Chile in pursuit.
Go, Chris Hill, go.
Wow.
For the Mudlarks,
Now it's bouncing.
they'll put back on their zone defense look here. We've got a pretty standard looking Pommy defense. We've got 1 on the mark, 3 in the cup. We've got 2 wings that because of this wind can sit in very short, and then Hill will sit deep. It's a pretty effective defensive choice. Puts heaps of pressure on a thrower already under tough conditions.
Chile only just getting to the disc now. It's that far away. A new disc has been called. I think that's a smart move.
We'll have to keep a few of those on hand, I think.
Yeah.
We're going to need some disc boys.
Yeah, that's what this game needs. We need those little guys that run around the sidelines giving you discs.
Tim Booth, bring it in. Pumps it, gets the dump off. I'm not sure of the strategy. I think the big hammer was the better idea. And he's looking into the teeth of the breeze and the Mudlarks' zone defense. They're trying to move it. They find Booth again. He's in the coffin corner. He nods. He wants the longer throw. He's going to actually find an
Outrageous.
outstanding throw there. That is something special. Tim Booth showing that it doesn't matter if you're old. If you can still throw, you've still got something to offer. And they've got it to the high side now. It bounces off hands. Krank to Tim Booth, driving the offense. The crash into the cup, fakes the inside, break, covered well by the cup. The 1-2 ball, the small ball, and Booth trying to get the reset. The high release is there. That's McCabe. McCabe looking, finds Booth. The zone offense has gone pretty good thus far. You'd have to say that Wollongong play often in these kind of conditions, and they're so far.
And that one bounces off the face of John O'Keefe. He may look 12, but he's actually 14, the youngest player on this team. And I do believe if they make it to the grand final, he will have to leave to go on a cruise with his mum. So he's making up for that by playing as much as he can this game.
There is a call. Jack Gray on the mark, Matt Hill with the disc. And
Gee, I hope the cruise isn't departing from Wollongong. That ship is in real danger of tipping.
I'm just glad we're not flying out of Wollongong. I'm glad that we fly out from Sydney. And there's Loughman.
He sends it down the other end. John O'Kee's underneath it. 4.5 foot tall. Skies all the other guys. Finds Booth. Will he send it back? No, he won't.
And Gray now with good movement. Krank breaking the Mudlarks zone for the second time this point. Finding themselves in their opposition half of the field. The hammer candy is sold and bought. Tim Booth's hat goes flying. He's looking, he gets the reset to Keys. Keys pumping that backhand, not going with it. Resets to Booth, who's gonna throw a bladey.
What was that?
Bladey forehand. I think he just knows more about the conditions than anybody else.
That was utter swill. Didn't even ever look like going anywhere near a player on his team. But he said, stuff this, make them play offense in these conditions. We don't want it. Put it down the other end and give them 70 yards.
Gentlemen, I've played in all conditions. I've watched in all conditions. But this has got to be the windiest day I've ever seen. It is just unbelievable. And Hill goes inside out with the dead backhand.
Rips it into traffic, and Krank will get another shot.
Keys goes fast. Goes as quick as he can. He's caught though. And there's the block. And the double front bicep. Jake Thomas likes it. So Matt Hill's going to have another opportunity. You know it's windy when our pole cam that's built for wind is swaying. And Matt Hill. Oh boy.
I'm not sure there are words to describe that throw.
Look, he's just like, yeah, look, whatever, guys.
Sits down. He knows it's going to be a bit of a wait before they can get another disc onto the field. I can't lip read, but I think he just said it's windy. Yep, we've noticed, Matt. It's not easy.
Let's see a replay of Jake Thomas's guns. I think Chris Hill has not yet returned from fetching the original disc. We might just send him a text message and ask him to get the second one while he's there.
Yeah, we'll set up a smoke signal or something.
And Tim Booth, I have to wonder if he's ever played in wind like this before.
I mean, he's had plenty of years' experience.
It looks like there's a violation down the field. Straight discs, small humans maybe.
Being blown away in the wind. There are definitely a few parents here with their kids on the sidelines. They may have had to tie them to the ground to keep them on the grass.
Some spare tent pegs.
I think I might need some pegs for my chair, actually.
Oh my word! At what stage do we just call this game and say, look, let's just put it off for an hour or two? It's just impossible at this stage. That disc bounces and it macks up a little bit, and the dust, and now the head.
No.
All right, lesson for all the players out there: don't show the bottom of the disc to the wind. Don't throw that shape, because there's only one place that disc will go, and it's about 80 meters out the back and out the side.
Oh boy.
Moving on to our 5th game disc in as many minutes.
Very happy that you could join us, Gus, along with Max. Helping out here and covering the semi. Matt Hill does everything he can. He gives it the arm, and well,
New disc.
To be fair, he kept that one in. It bounced in first before it went out. He's improving. Give him another 8 or 9 shots. He might actually get one to complete.
Another 8 or 9 discs as well. There's only so many frisbees at this tournament. You know, that's That's my main concern. Chili sprinting it back.
No, that was the first one from 4 turnovers ago. I mean, if you want a player to play fetch and go get the discs, Chris Hill's your man.
He's going to be exhausted for nationals in a week and a half's time if he keeps getting these frisbees.
Who are you kidding, Gus? No, he won't. He's not going to be worn out. This is a light Sunday afternoon for Chris Hill.
Tim Booth, his eyes light up. He's relishing this.
He gets the throw through heavy contact. Keys gets the reset. And the disc has been...
new disc! New disc! The impact.
Number 6.
The impact on the ground had warped it. Need another one.
I mean,
Number 6.
It is actually fine. There's some pretty strict rules as to replacement discs.
Tell that to Tim Booth. He bends that one out on his knee. He says, this is how we do it in the old days.
We whack it on the ground and get on with it.
That's it. I think when he first started playing...
Okay, goes the hammer.
Over the top. Hill's underneath it. So's plenty of others.
He's having a dog of a time, is Matt Hill.
See a wry smile on his face.
He is shaking his head and, well, he whacks Delgado in the shins with that one. And Booth goes fast, trying to get it out before the zone comes and gets set. Keys drops it cold. And so far, it's really just Matt Hill and Tim Booth
playing catch.
Seeing how far they can throw it.
It's a really weird game of frisbee table tennis that we're seeing between...
We see the huge dad backhand, the wide open forehand stance.
And Delgado's got it. And now Lofnan looking down the field.
Oh, that's a lovely pass. That was the closest we've seen to a real frisbee throw in about 8 or 9 minutes.
Blake Nichols going huge. That's what it's going to take at this stage. Just to score is going to take something special.
We are sitting only at 4-2 at this stage in the game, and we're 35 minutes in.
McCabe resets to Tim Booth. Completes the 1.5 metre pass. McCabe nicely through the cup. Krank looking a little bit better now.
Got it on the high side. This may make the difference.
McCabe to Booth. Booth back to McCabe. They're just using a bit of possession ultimate now, which is much nicer. Bit of a call, bit of a convo.
It's a really close cup. Gong looking to just dink it through. I think that's going to have to be the strategy.
We saw a similar zone offense from Surge earlier today. Very short-ranged, backhand-based. I mentioned that it was a high-level Zone O designed in South Australia as a thought experiment, but it seems to have organically developed in Wollongong for obvious reasons.
For very obvious reasons. There's about 40 kilometres an hour of obvious reasons right now.
Well, Keys. Oh, Keys decides to test it, and the wind says no. Nichols. Oh, it's got whacked in the head by John O'Keys. And James Lean, the man with the disc.
Yeah, Keys gives him something to think about, remind him that he's still there. And then he gets reminded that it's not AFL.
Hasn't gone on his cruise just yet, has he, John O'Keys?
Nah, he's still here, at least for another little bit.
The sideline turning away from the field.
They can't see anything. And
look at the disc fly.
That'll be a new disc.
I think we left 40k an hour 20 kilometres ago. I think we're up into the 60 to 70 range now. It is getting absurd.
This is a localised tornado right now.
That'll be a new disc as well.
This is the craziest weather I have ever been a part of, gentlemen.
There are only so many ways you can say it's bloody windy, and it is bloody windy right now. Hannah Monty, our chief game advisor, brings up the 7th or 8th disc for this game.
See Matt Hill just making.
He says, what am I meant to do? How do you expect me to throw? Oh, it's a foot block. Or a thigh block, I think, maybe.
Jack Gray, and now pressure on the mark. That for the first time in 10 minutes, Krank are going to cross the halfway line.
Tim Booth grits his teeth, head down and marches up to the spot as 4 black shirts congregate around him and form a wall.
McCabe gets the disc. It's a very, very tight wall. They're very close to the disc. Booth fakes, gets to Keys. Can't get the around and the reset to the high side. He calls double team. Keys fakes the lefty. Looks for McCabe, can't find him. They're going backwards, Wollongong. And now they're away with the bid from Delgallo. And now the bid, keeping the Krank offense alive.
And they're inching forwards up the field and to the high side.
It's where they want it. Jono Keys maintaining possession. I think this is a good idea until the bonehead drop by McCabe.
Keys.
Yeah.
That one flips
Give it a rip. Give it a rip, Leany.
Keys may not have his license yet, but he's driving this offense for Krank. Him and Booth doing a lot of work, dinking it backwards and forwards. Booth fakes the forehand.
How do you even throw it in this breeze?
Downwind. Downwind only.
The problem being that it's only a cross breeze. And Tim Booth with a bit of hustle and bustle. And now I believe this will come back. It looked like it was swatted from his hands. And they're going to talk about it a little bit.
It's the worst possible spot to give the Mudlarks a turnover. They've struggled to complete passes, but from this position, you'd back them in.
It's a contested foul by the looks of it. So Tim Booth will get this one. Maximum of 6, the stall. They're just sorting out who's where, I think. All right, tapped in by Lofton. Tim Booth whacks
Head block.
Leany in the head.
That's a head block.
New disc.
Some people use their hands. Some people use their legs. He was using his head that time.
We saw it in the Surge game. One of the ladies managing to get a block with the back of her head, and now James Lean is getting in on the action. And Matt Hill, it's the closest he's been. Can he complete the pass?
Literally 2 inches. Can they complete? Yes, they do. Mark Delgallo up the line.
Oh, Tim Booth is going to make a call.
Of course he is.
He's going to make him come back and do it all again. You would have to say that 2 out of 2 is not possible.
Bloody hell.
And our the table's rocking. The debris is flying, the loose dirt. And they're just sorting out what's happening.
Hannah Monty, our Chief Game Advisor, is involved. We're not sure if we'll be able to pick up much of the conversation with the wind.
I think that Tim Booth actually isn't looking for this call to go his way. I think he's just looking to delay the game a little bit, just to maybe give his team a bit of time to get into the better time of day so that there's some nicer weather to play Ultimate in.
Look, maybe he's just trying to park the bus. I know they've still got a good 40 minutes left of the game, but in conditions like these, parking the bus becomes a legitimate strategy.
This point has been running for what feels like 20 minutes. And they're going to go back. It will return to Matt Hill. And he's going to have to make it again. He's going to have to do the same throw again.
And he does!
No, he does!
It's a completion! It's a goal!
Blake Nichols in the corner.
Mudlarks get another on the board. They make it a 1-point game. It's 4-3. Throw after throw after throw. Mudlarks inched it closer and closer, and in the end, they get the disc 2.5 inches from the end zone.
Throw after throw, disc after disc. And we get there eventually. getting an update there from Hannah Monty. I'm sorry, I didn't hear her, Max. Can you fill us in?
She was saying, oh, go for it, Gus.
Yeah, she said that it's so windy, it's difficult to actually hear what the players are saying on the field. So,
yeah, that's fun.
We have confirmation from the technical crew. That point lasted for 23 minutes.
Yeah.
So at this stage, we may be able to squeeze in 2 more points before the end of the match, if we're lucky.
We lost a lot of good frisbees along the way. 1 or 2 hats actually as well, I saw go.
We may be possibly having a 4-all universe point game to 5.
Gee, what a time to be alive.
I wouldn't
if
put
it
it past
goes to
them.
4-all universe point, that would be something special. Something special indeed. And now Yoshi Phillip has to pull.
What would you do if you were pulling this, Max? Where are you aiming?
Oh, about 30 metres out the left-hand side of the field. No, that's the one. Flat and low. Don't give the wind too much of a chance.
That's a really, really good pull.
That's exactly where you want it, out the side of the end zone.
New disc.
And they'll bring it in coffin corner. I imagine they'll go with that zone that's been serving them well so far.
We are about to lose the 10. And that is problematic. If we suddenly go off the air, ladies and gentlemen, you know what has happened. We've joined the disc down in the shrubbery.
New 10.
New commentary team. We're being blown away here.
Oh, jeez.
As Smooth brings it in.
Tim Booth. And there's another high throw. The wind grabs it, and it's in the air. Matt Hill tries to go fast, and it gets incompleted. Trialing conditions indeed for not only the players, but us as well. We're doing our best. We've recruited a few players to grab hold of the 10. It's incomplete, rather. Matt Hill sticks a great one.
The wind seemed to drop just for a moment, and he launches a forehand back the other way. And they complete a pass. Krank can't go 2 in a row.
Anglovich gets himself on the stat sheet with a block. Pete Nixon baits his, he threw his mark off his feet and then threw it away. I'm just going to duck under the 10 as the frisbee comes this way.
They're not even seeming to look if there's a receiver at this point. It's just pick it up and rip it. Matt Hill working hard. Struggling to keep his shirt on. And Glover puts the mark on.
At this stage, why bother, Hill? I mean, you got a rig, get it out, son. And Tim Booth goes fast. And immediately the zone goes on. Anglovich, the long Anglovich. Ferguson tries to break the cup. He does, but the wind right now is playing as the 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th defender on the field. The offense is vastly outnumbered. Pete Nixon does his best.
There's 2 players going sideways, including Booth, as they hit the turf and get the block. Keys just jacks it straight up into the wind. And that's not a bad effort.
I got it. I don't got it. New disc.
You get a sense of the wind by how much our camera's shaking, so we apologise for that.
And Matt Hill's going to bring it in again for the Mudlarks. He's been the throwing thread. It gets foot blocked. But at this stage, you know, whatever.
Yeah, there's no shortage of possessions or opportunities with the disc.
Tim Booth bring it in for Krank. Lurks. Goes to break the cup. Goes around. Ferguson. Oh.
Injury called.
Tim Booth has broken himself.
Clutching at his hamstring. No, he's cramped. He's cramped.
It's not easy to fight against the wind. Even standing up is causing cramps at the moment.
Oh boy.
We've got 3 players holding the tent in place with their full body weight.
And it comes back into play on the near side. Backhand down the line. Just stays in. That's a good 10 metres of territory. They'll like that. And Matt Hill will have another go. Look, they do say practice makes perfect, Gus, and there's been no shortage of practice of hucking in this wind. But we're yet to see perfection.
Well, it is 10,000 hours to perfect the skill of throwing in gale force winds. I doubt he's been training in a wind tunnel. That's the only possible location that could have prepared him for these conditions.
Well, he's racking up some serious preparation now. And that one I don't think actually went into the field at any point. So they'll march it back up to where Hill threw it from. This is Ferguson. You get a glimpse of Booth doing his stretches on the sideline. He's shaking his head, he doesn't look happy.
He's no good. He's cramping up.
And Ferguson just not sure what to call that throw. Not sure.
Well, I think that's a backhand, Max. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's a backhand.
It's a decent guess, but it did end up upside down.
We're just going to see if we can get this 10 taken down before we lose it, and it wipes out 3 or 4 players. And we'll keep covering the game best we can as that happens. Matt Hill goes to the forehand. It's pretty good, all things considered. Incomplete.
New disc.
Now what I'm liking is the energy on the sideline when the disc goes out. Everyone's really hustling to trap it.
Well, they've got to make up for a severe lack of game time. You know, if you're on the side, you've got to stay warm somehow. And with 20, 25-minute points.
Well, that Ferguson throw ends up in a turn. Matt Hill, he's going to get it back and have another crack at it.
Oh, that's a nice-looking throw. That might stay. No. I thought for a second that was going to stay in the field.
Oh, boy.
Silly of me, really.
Well, we're approaching the 10-minute mark for this point, the 8th point of the game.
Half-time's not looking likely, is it?
Really not.
It's really not.
So they're just sorting out what's happening. Looks like it might be a timeout call.
In fact, judging by the hand signals, was that a spirit timeout?
We're calling a spirit timeout to discuss the wind and whether we continue, because at this point,
It's absurd.
it is
We need a wind timeout.
Will they have a timeout? Thanks, Hannah. They have called a spirit timeout to discuss what the plan will be. Genuinely difficult to stay upright at this point, let alone play frisbee.
Go that way. Oh, things are getting dangerous here. And a spirit timeout is a great call. We'll see if we can find out what's happening. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll go to a quick break here, and we'll be back from windy Wollongong. Well, the Spirit timeout was called. An excellent call in hindsight. Had a quick word with Jake Anglovich. The discussion was basically that... Oh!
That's a great grab! Matt Hill goes up against Petroni Fran. Plenty of body-on-body contact.
Damn, what a grab. I mean, there hasn't been much to get excited about, but Petroni Fran...
It's the nicest bit of ultimate we've seen all game.
Play of the game. It's been the only play.
The only play other than ripping backhands into the wind and hoping for the best.
Oh, yeah, okay. So, the Spirit timeout, basically the conversation was, you know, the wind is god-awful, but they can't play the game at any other time, and they need a result. So they're just going to tough it out. Both teams, I think, would be happy to stop right now, but they're both going to basically man up, man up and soldier on.
Soldier through it. I think we've had a travel call.
Well, Phillip stepping into the mark there, trying to generate some momentum to throw that flick. Conversation being who infringed who. So disc comes in and Phillip pumps that forehand again. Just needs to pivot around and throw it back in, I think. Goes to the forehand anyway, it's out of bounds. I'd be interesting to get a wind speed onto this this breeze right now. McCabe goes to Dawson, who nearly catches it.
Bounced out of the breadbasket, had two full hands and a body behind it, and couldn't hold on.
You see Tim Booth instructing Dawson to turn around and play backwards.
Outside of the field, in fact, because they just expect that's where the throw's going to go.
Oh, grab!
Complete a pass through the middle to Nixon. Great hold.
Yeah, new disc.
New disc.
Nixon has tacoed that. Tim Booth.
Oh, Tim Booth's going to work his magic.
Bend it over his knee.
He's the
Bend
disc
it like
mechanics.
Booth. How about that for a movie idea?
Bend it like Booth. I'd pay you to see it.
Well, Tim Booth does have a bit of a rig on him. Nixon, going to bring it in. Nixon's looked pretty good out there, and he's going to throw another pretty good one.
Down the other end, gaining some good yards on that one. Keeping it in the field. Ticking some of the boxes.
If anyone is really pushing for a national indoor ultimate championship, I think showing footage of this game will really help their case.
Yeah. Yes, Gus.
Can't disagree.
It's a shame we can't have 100-metre indoor fields.
I think this is a great opportunity to shout out Destination Wollongong. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, great city you got here.
It is. It's just no good for playing ultimate, apparently.
What a location.
Hill gets himself a block. Ends up headbutting one of the guys in the crotch, and he's ripped.
Whoa!
It's
More
a goal!
Ah!
Oh my lord! They've done it against the odds. They've completed a pass, and it's in the end zone. It's a goal!
Oh man, this game. It's got it all at this stage.
Defies description, the difficulty that this team's have had to play through.
Thank God for time cap, eh?
Well, it's going to limit the damage at this stage. Sienna Haynes in the distance, the part of the tournament organising committee, the events coordinator for the Australian Ultimate Flying Disc Association. She's no doubt keeping a close eye over proceedings. She'll be the go-to person. Also like to make a quick shout out to Monica and her wonderful helpers who managed to pull the tent down with no loss of limb nor eyes.
Not an easy task, not an easy task at all. Shout out to all the volunteers at this tournament. They've done a great job keeping us watered and hydrated and fed. Thank you to them.
Oh my. We hear the whistle for all the score, the time approaching 60 minutes.
Well, that one was a relatively quick point, only 18.5 minutes. They're speeding up. At this rate,
It's getting better.
we may get to a total score of double digits if you add the two together.
I think the forehand pull is the way to go here.
The forehand pull.
He's going to go backhand, outside in. And Booth picks it up. Ferguson in the yellow boots finds her receiver. That's Tony Tran. Dawson back to Booth. Finds Dawson. Shredding the cup is Dawson. Fakes it. Resets to Booth. Again, we see the short range Wollongong Zono.
That's 9 passes in a row.
It's very, very good.
That's 10.
And Booth looks for Dawson, doesn't find it, gets a reset there to Ferguson. He points and tells him where he wants him. The reset and the swing. The push pass. Oh, the man has no fear.
It's gutsy.
It's 15. 15 passes.
They're going for 20. I believe. The
But
wind says
unfortunately-
otherwise. And Booth hugs it. Oh my lord! It's sailing up in the air. It's going to land in.
Tim Booth just realising what the weather was doing and says, okay, we can't play around with it anymore. We've had our 16 passes. Let's play position. And then playing back to the disc. That one's out and that one's gone. We've got a box of frisbees now on the sideline just to keep things handy. Booth has it. He's got a backhand force on, so he may be able to do something interesting. But Tony Van is going to make a call.
That's a very interesting tactical mix-up. Going with a backhand force. Surely, Gus, surely you want to be forcing the flick in
I
these
just
conditions.
do not understand the backhand force idea. It's impossible to throw. Well, maybe they're attempting it. You know, it's such a difficult
baiting
throw
it. They're
in any
baiting it.
direction. Maybe they want them to throw it into the wind. Oh, well, it's worked for them. There you go.
Tim Booth drops it.
No hesitation, Jake Anvil. Oh!
Jake Alphabet throws it away.
Cave has a crack.
The Cave has a crack and
That's a tough name, Maxie. Don't worry about it.
I apologise to Jake Angelovich. I just got excited. It was a pretty decent looking throw in these wind.
It's hard in this wind to say such a long name, Max.
It is. It's hard to throw. It's hard to talk. And
Matt Hill tries it on for size. Finds it to be way too small.
doesn't fit at all.
Tim Booth going to bring it in for Krank.
Now, in
And
terms
this-
of windy games, I was going to say, this is right up there for me. Probably the windiest I've ever seen. I know Mixed Nats last year at Hobart was pretty ridiculous. The footage from that's pretty outrageous. BCI last year also very bad in the final, but in terms of a game that people have continued to play through, this may well be the worst.
Yeah, I was in that Mixed Nats final where Lado threw it up in the air and it got caught and went 20 metres behind him.
Yeah.
But that was an up-down wind. This is just across the field. A cross breeze. Breeze doesn't really do it justice though. It's a cross gale.
What a catch by Ollie Hoffman! And they're off to the races, are the Mudlarks! They've completed 3, they look for a 4th! They've got it!
Wowee!
3 on the
Geelong
trot.
Mudlarks! Jake Angelovich, safe as houses.
I tell you what isn't safe. Houses. This wind is... See what I'm going for there? Wind might blow over a house, Max. It's so windy.
And it's 5-4, the Mudlarks get 2 in a row.
Nah, 3 in a row.
3 in a row.
3 in a row. 3 on the trot.
Soaring like the birds they're named after.
Oh, speaking of birds that are soaring, just behind us we've got some seagulls battling with the breeze. They're not winning.
They're going out to sea, I think.
I've just seen a seagull land and start walking because it's easier than trying to fly.
Yeah. That's where the birds are at the moment.
As we watch Matt Hill wind up.
And the catch by Ollie Loftman through the middle.
That's a heads-up play. That's the kind of stuff you need to do in conditions like this. Eyes on the disc all the way. You never know where it's going to bobble or pop to. All right, put yourself in Dan Rule's shoes right now.
Yeah.
What do you say to a team? You know, you're a top-level coach. You've coached every team under the sun. High-level strategy and tactics. What do you say in this?
It's hug and play zone.
Grip it and rip it. Grip it and rip it. It's
Grip
gotta
it and
be.
rip it. It's that simple. No tactical tweaks, no strategic adjustments.
You might notice, guys, we've had to reel the pole cam in. We've had to go down quite a few meters. We're just getting way too much whip at the end of the apparatus. It was built for big. Oh!
Gives him a hug on the mark. Reminds him that he's there.
Jane Fox putting the hit onto the young man, John O'Keefe.
No love lost between these two teams.
It is on well and truly now, with Krank being down the brake. Can it even be considered a break with so many turns?
Yeah, I'm not sure if starting a point on offense means much anymore. You know, you're going to have a good 15, 20 shots at it at least.
Oh,
oh, maybe not! Doesn't quite get there in the end despite the athletic play.
And now here come Krank.
Yeah.
Returns the favour.
Oh, that's catchable. Oh.
It hit him in the hands. He should have got it. We see the disc. He's tried to get the disc off the field and it's ended up right back where it started. Anglovich is going to walk it off the field.
Maybe the right choice.
Yeah, Jake Az knows the score. And now Matt Hill, as hard as he can. And Ferguson boofs one of the guys out of the way. I've got it, guys. No, I don't. New disc.
Angelovich gives us a signal. He says, this is good Frisbee. This is cordon bleu. This is fine dining of the Frisbee variety.
You can't have caviar.
Yeah, play with two discs, I reckon.
Champagne ultimate.
Solution. Yeah.
Champagne ultimate right here. Matt Hill winds up and releases it.
And I think they're getting the idea now, Krank. They're not waiting for Tim Booth to get to the disc. They're just picking it up with whoever and going for position.
Return to sender on that one.
Matt Hill has made 3 yards.
If he does this another 18, 19 times, he might get near the end zone.
So here he goes with a poach in the lane. Oh, he's come down.
That's a nice throw. That's a nice throw into the stack.
Foxy started the point with a bit of hip and shoulder, and now he's caught the Frisbee, but he's all alone. They've left him hanging.
And it gets bobbled up, tipped by a hand out of the stack. That's a good option by Hill. I like that. Instead of punting it long, just throw it straight into the middle of the stack and trust the fact there's about 8 receivers. Hope one of them manages to hold on to it.
Getting some randos walking past the commentary booth now. Mark Evans.
Oh, that's a Callahan! My lord! Out of nowhere, he comes through the cup and intercepts the pass. Geelong Mudlarks are ecstatic, and they take a 2-point lead, 6-4.
4 on the trot for the Mudlarks.
Krank don't have an answer. They're the locals, and they can't figure out what to do.
And it's a timeout, so they're going to take a break, Krank. They're going to talk it over, I think. We'll take the opportunity as well to try and secure some more of our gear. And we'll be back very shortly with the conclusion of this game.
Just had a word from Tim Booth. He said, word for word, this game's cooked. I can't disagree with him. It's the truth. He said they're just going to cycle through some of their players, just do their best, give everyone a run, and see what happens. At this stage, there's not much difference in terms of what happens with different personnel on the field. No one's really able to cut through the breeze. We've seen an attempted hammer. That was about a quadruple helix. It goes out the sideline.
Just update on my hat. I made the mistake of looking up in the air, and it's gone. So I think Chili's got it.
Matt Hill. Fakes it, reps it. Big backhand. Can't find Angelovic.
But it's all about that field position, boys.
Yes, it is.
And I like how our commentary has deteriorated. Like the state of the game, we're winding back the clock here. A little bit more of a heckle fest now.
Oh, look, I think at this stage, if you're still watching, I mean, shout out to you, but you're in it for the long haul. You're not here for the Champagne Ultimate.
Or the caviar commentary.
No.
Hill. I mean, we're laughing here and there's no... The players are not at fault. This is not because they're bad.
Oh! He almost caught his own hammer as it turned around in the air. It looked like it was on an elastic band. He threw it and it came straight back to him.
Anglovic looking to cram it in the cram hole.
And
it goes off Lofton.
Is there going to be a call or is that just a turnover?
Ooh, I feel like there's a fairly serious injury.
Oh, in the goalies.
Yeah, that looks like a left testicle, maybe. Could be the right.
Could even be both, but Booth will bring it back in.
At this stage, it's all to do for Krank. The Mudlarks are gritting out one of the grossest games ever to have been played in Australia. Timmel goes with the dad backhand.
And I'm not sure if he actually made any meters on that throw. Oh, look at that throw. They'll make meters on that one.
All right, here we go. Bit of position play, good stuff. Krank moving down the field. Thankfully, we do have a lunch break after this game, so maybe towards this afternoon the wind will die down some. Maybe. We'll have to check with our special Bureau of Meteorology special correspondent, official liaison to the party, and resident weather person in charge, Hillary Humes, as to what's going to happen this afternoon with the winds.
Dan, I'm reporting live from Wollongong in gale force winds. We're looking at winds westerly, northwesterly, 61 kilometers per hour. I'm out of here. It's too windy.
I think we've lost Hillary. She's
blown away.
All right, new Hillary.
Yes.
You see a young woman flying through the air. Please do hold her down.
Please return to Canberra if you can. Tim Booth! Tim Booth! Tim Booth! Jumping jack defense! I mean, the hammer was pretty good.
Yeah, looked half decent, to be honest.
I don't know how you can generate that angle. In wind like this, you just need so much power to get it through the stiff breeze. See here, when he releases this disc, it actually looks pretty good in shape. He throws it pretty much vertical and the wind does the rest. So another turnover. 6-4, still into 10, 15 minutes in this point. And only 6 to play now.
Seems unlikely that Krank will bring it back, but never say never.
Well, they went out to a lead early in this game. There's a follow-through connection on the mark there.
And there'll be
disc.
It's gone.
looks like it's a foul call, uncontested. Matt Hill gets another chance on it.
I don't think he'd be too aggrieved if that wasn't it. If he's not getting that one back, I think he's well and truly over this this win. He's done a pretty good job, has Matt Hill. He's picked up pretty much every disc for Geelong thus far. It's probably the most he's thrown all weekend. The dad backhand.
Oh, that's a nice one out of the hand. That's going to sit. He's going to have players underneath it.
Tim Booth from behind.
And there's a foul call. Boothie made up a fair bit of ground to get there.
Yeah, it looks like he came over the space. The call probably that he infringed the vertical space.
He definitely came from behind. And Hannah Monty, the game advisor, will get involved, provide perspective and some clarification on the rules if they need it.
See the replay. Yeah, he's coming over the top there, is Booth. They'll sort it out.
It looks like it's an uncontested foul, which means Geelong Mudlarks will retain possession.
Yeah, that's Yid Hong Chong with the disc. I don't think it's going to make much difference. I anticipate a turnover is coming shortly. Loftman goes with the backhand. Another pretty good looking throw, but the wind pushes it out.
With 3 minutes, or 3.5 minutes remaining in this game, I imagine all the players out there at this point are looking forward to it being over. They do. Booth cranks one.
It's hit him in the hands and he's dropped it. You can't do it, dude. You can't have the throw be completed. Lofton goes with the backhand.
That's a nice throw. It's going to sit nicely. Pack underneath it. Angelovic in the vicinity. Booth goes to turf.
We don't know what's happening. Mayhem in the end zone. Angelovic has completely fluffed it. You would have thought he would have climbed up there and ripped that down, and he's not had any kind of bid on it. Tim Booth on the ground.
Watch that rip off out of the hand. Sits nicely. Bodies left, right, and centre. Absolute carnage as Booth backs into the pack. Big swing from and a miss by Angelovic.
I don't think Booth has much to stand on there. It looked like he went way too early and went backwards. Had his opportunity and lost it. And I think the result is fair at the end of the day. I think the Mudlarks have scored here. It's going to be a foul. Yeah, Tim Booth just goes way too early.
And definitely moving backwards into stationary players.
But for some reason this is contested and it's going to go back. I feel like this is a travesty. I can't see how this is a foul call at all. There's no way that Tim Booth got fouled there. There is no way.
Though, to be perfectly honest, with 2 minutes left, does it really matter? You know, if you're Tim Booth, do you just say, all right, it happened, let's keep moving?
I don't see how you can call foul when you're the player going backwards and creating the contact. We'll leave that one to the academics. And Laughlin is going to have another crack at this one. His first backhand was really good. See if he can recreate the magic. Let's see if he's still got the tusk. And he goes again. The second one's worse. And the catch is nearly made anyway. Sophie Bell underneath it. Tim Booth.
Thanks.
He's going to bring it in. Tim Booth goes to the hammer. New disc.
Oh, it's straight into a pack of people on the sideline as well, I think. Final 60 seconds. I still believe the comeback is possible. If time cap goes during this point, they'll finish this point and still have to play another one.
We could be here for half an hour yet.
Just reminding people of the rules because it's a scary thought. Having to grit through another of these.
Matt Hill. He actually gets a pretty good forehand out, but is blocked in the secondary. And Tim Booth, another opportunity. It's going to be Chu on the mark. The jumping jack defense again for the Mudlarks.
And again, the hammer attempt.
Through two hands this time. Matt Hill fakes it. Still looking, stall, getting higher. Timmel, Matt Hill, he puts it for meters.
That's good meters.
It's a pretty nice throw, actually.
Yeah.
Vaguely resembled civilized ultimate. Makes no receiver.
Not this savagery that we've been seeing for most of the game.
It's barbarism.
Some caveman ultimate. Pick it up, throw it as far as you can. Tim Booth, he's got 1, 2, 3, it goes over Hill. New disc.
Yeah, that's a new disc if I ever saw one. Good thing we now have a healthy supply by the fields. Weighed down, of course, by a box of fruit.
Now, judging by our clock, we've hit time cap. We haven't heard the official hooter. I'm not sure if that's just because we couldn't hear it in the wind.
I heard it.
Time cap is gone.
Thank you, Hannah Montihead, game advisor. Time cap has gone, so we're finishing this point. We're adding one and we're playing to that.
It's a scary thought, but if Geelong Mudlarks put this in, and then Krank go on a run, we potentially have 4 more points to play. That's over another hour.
We could be here for days, guys.
It's another 80 minutes of ultimate.
Yeah, look. Strap yourselves in, ladies and gentlemen. Get comfy.
Hey, John O'Keefe's going to miss his cruise at this rate.
This is an endurance match.
He's going to have to send a text to his mum from the sideline to say, Mum, look, I'm sorry.
I'm still on the field. I haven't been able to take a sub yet. And Matt Hill's backhand almost takes out some spectators.
That's Hillary, isn't it?
It is Hillary Hume, our co-commentator and official Bureau of Meteorology correspondent.
Tim Booth, the disc mechanic, just
the disc whisperer.
He's straightening it out a little bit. He's on the low side, fakes the hammer, goes to the backhand, jams it in the breeze. I think if the Mudlarks score here, I think a spirit timeout is justified and maybe the result is settled as is.
I'd be tempted to agree. There must be some kind of mercy rule. I'm not sure if it's officially in the rules, but...
There is no rule for too much wind. Only if it becomes a danger can the game be called. I assume that through agreement between the two captains, however, in a spirit timeout, that something could be arranged. If Krank score though, I believe they're fully justified in continuing to play. Tim Booth with a good hammer. And that's out. Yeah.
Surely common sense will prevail once this one gets put in, if Geelong put it in. As Matt Hill attempts another forehand.
Oh, and immediately it goes back the other way, again for meters. Jake Angelievich has his hands in his pockets on the field.
Not sure there's much left to say about this game, really. It's scrappy, ultimate all the way.
Max, you've actually lost part of your microphone.
It is blown away.
It's over there. We're losing bits of equipment left, right and centre. Ladies and gentlemen, this is how you slim down your technical equipment. Whatever lives through the Wollongong wind. That's what you know is made of the firmer stuff.
It's the great equaliser, isn't it?
Well, I don't know about equaliser, more like leveller, because there's nobody doing anything. And Matt Hill, he throws it immediately, and it hasn't come back in.
Update on Max Stenstrom. He's 2 fields away.
He's still going. He's trying to track down the bits of his microphone that have gone flying. But Matt Hill has thrown that for meters with nobody in the area, and it hasn't worked out at all.
Boothie with the wave. He's sending his team deep.
Fuck this. He's had enough. Oh, he's over it. Oh, Matt Hill with the dead backhand.
That's going to work, though. Oh, no! Tragedy!
You're killing us, dude. That's Jacob Laughlin.
Foul call by Booth. It's a veteran call.
I don't think it matters. It really doesn't matter. At this stage, I am ready to burst into tears. All I want to see is
What
three
a
passes.
throw!
Matt Hill.
That was a good looking flick.
Yeah. Oh, this one's coming to us. Well, maybe not. It's going back to Matt Hill. Well, with time cap having gone, what's the rule on hard cap, Max? There is a hard cap rule, I believe.
There is. I'm not quite sure when it kicks in. Perhaps Hannah Monty can give us a little insight into the hard cap rule for time.
Sorry, that's not my job. I'm rules, not tournament rules.
There you go.
Fair
She's
enough.
thrown it back to us. She said you're on your own, boys.
Well, we're not sure. There's definitely a hard cap rule. I'm not sure when it kicks in.
Matt Hill to Bell. Sophie Bell with the disc. Maybe she can create some magic.
She's got a big flick on her. Give it a rip save. Oh.
And Laughlin. Laughlin with a backhand. That's out. Tim Booth trying to track down the disc. He's struggling at this stage. It's been a battle out there. The players, they haven't really been fighting each other. They've gone to war with the conditions more than anything else. At the end of the day, I think the wind has won this game. And I think that's a backhand. That was a backhand that turned into a hammer. I have never seen it. Tim Booth, he is doing things with a disc I didn't think was possible.
I mean, he's one hell of a player and one hell of a thrower, but I didn't think that was a throw that could be made. His name's not Harry, but he's definitely a wizard.
Hillary Humes is she's crashed down behind a whiz bin here, trying to stay upright. Matt Hill's gonna bring it out, and he fakes it and he throws it straight into the leg. Oh, that'll sting. That's a bruise. That is a bruise. There's a foul call. Oh. The absurdity continues. And no end is in sight, gentlemen. This point has been going on forever.
I'm not sure if we're approaching a resolution to this match. Feels like it may just drag on forever.
Definitely. We could be in for a test match. We might have to come back tomorrow.
Jake Angelovich signalling to the sideline saying, "What's the point anymore?"
He's losing the will to live out there, is Angelovich. He hasn't seen the disc all game.
Yeah, life for a deep receiver and a downfield cut is pretty rough in games like these.
Just seeing a conversation now between Dan Rule and the tournament organising committee.
Yeah, they're getting their heads together over there. Simon Farrow and Anna Haynes, they're both they're all over there having a chat. So I anticipate there's going to be something come of this. And on the other hand, nothing's going to come of this hammer.
An absolute laser
mean, Tim Booth is...
He's not done. Like, he's still moving with some intent.
He's not done at all. He's going to air it out. And it's gone. I think there's a resolution here. There seems to be some players looking towards the sideline. Dan Rule is talking to Hannah Monty, head game advisor. There's gestures with intent.
But the players are still on the field. They're still playing.
Well, Matt Hill is bringing the disc up to the line, so we're going to assume that play continues. And Hill...
I've just had the ruling. Play will continue until 20 minutes after time cap, at which time we will finish that point. So, pretty much indefinitely.
Thank you, Hannah Monty. You're doing a great job out there. We appreciate your work.
Okay, so we're currently at 10 minutes past time cap. We have another 10 minutes, and then we'll have hard time cap.
Which means finish the point and whatever the result of the game is after that. Which means Krank need to get a move on here. If they want a finals berth, they need to score.
Yeah, I don't know why they're bothering with the pretense of a wall anymore, the Mudlarks. They should just put all 13 players in the end zone and let Boothie and Timmel just kind of chuck it at each other. Oh no. we need some Benny Hill music in the background of this on a highlights reel.
Tim Booth has laid out to try and stop that disc from rolling, has missed it, and the disc has gone to the next field. Tim Booth's going to call a timeout.
Yeah, no, we all need a break.
Right, he's calling a timeout here. In quick, he's in conference.
Oh no, he's saying no timeout. I take it back.
The old timeout retraction.
He's loving it too much.
Oh, he's gonna look at the disc.
He says no, it's too much fun.
He's looking at the disc. He's like, did you guys pump this up before we started playing? I feel like it's a bit flat. Needs some more air in this disc. Tim Booth now with a hammer.
He's chosen to opt for the hammers straight at the feet.
Oh, Matt Hill.
Oh. That's a 25-metre throw. It's not bad.
So you're getting a little bit of bender like Boothie.
You just see his body language. He's so unimpressed. He's bounced.
And you can see he's given up.
Coming in hot.
He's done.
Coach Booth.
He throws it just softly into the feet of the cup. He says, let's get it done.
He's tapping the mat.
He's saying, give them the disc on the field in the short area.
I think his plan backfired. I think he's trying to throw it into the ground. The wind picked it up.
Don't throw it. Don't throw it, says Matt Hill.
I've never seen this before.
He says, don't you dare throw that disc, Hillary. We'll never see it again.
In my 8 years of Ultimate Frisbee, I've never seen a team so deliberately tank away a point.
And he caught it.
Throws it straight to Booth. Will he give it back or will he huck it? Oh no, he's not done. He can't make up his mind. Does he want to let them have the point in the game? Or does he want to keep playing?
But expert analysis from Mike Palmer, he's saying that Boothie throwing in the towel might have been a stall out.
Oh, apologies.
Also, if they finish the point now,
Frustrated
they
stall
still
out.
have to keep playing because they haven't hit hard cap yet.
Yeah. Thank you, Hannah. She points out we haven't hit hard cap, so we've still got 7 minutes yet. We could yet see another point.
Oh, and a bump on the mark.
A heinous foul.
Puts Hill on the ground.
Uncontested. Uncontested is the call.
It'll come in on 0.
We're all going a little bit loopy at this stage. Matt Hill, that wall is about 1.5 meters away from him. Look at Tim Booth right now. Look at his body language. He is just so far gone. He's had enough. He wants someone else to come pick it up. He wants to have a discussion here. He's going to see if he can talk to someone.
He's walking towards Hannah Monty, our game advisor, gesturing it towards Anna Haynes, the event manager.
We could have the towel be thrown in right here. This could be the end. Unfortunately, Hannah Monty hasn't turned her microphone on, so we can't hear what's happening. I'm not sure we'd hear it anyway with the wind.
She's yelling something about time caps and adding one.
They're gesturing for Simon Farrow to join the conversation. There's still 6 minutes to play. 5 minutes now.
Spirit timeout.
Another
yeah.
Two in one game. I've genuinely
Yeah.
never seen 2 in one game.
It's about the wind as well.
This is great. They're going to circle it up.
We're just having a bit of a spirit timeout to now discuss how the wind is affecting the fact that we now have a hard cap and where that rule is to be found.
Thank you, Hannah Monty. So it's they're going to circle it up and have a chat here. I think we'll just take a quick break because we'll have to wait and see what happens in the circle. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for hanging around if you're still here. We'll be back very shortly.
Thanks for sticking around. For those just joining us, expecting the women's final, where due to some pretty incredible windy conditions, we'll just be providing bits and pieces of that to you while the men's semi concludes on the field next to it. It is chaos against Manly in the women's final, and they'll be struggling through this wind. And the men on the other side have now finished their second spirit timeout of the game, and we'll head back to them in a moment as they restart play. They've had a chat, clarified the rules. The rules are, once time cap is hit, 20 minutes afterwards, that's the hard time cap. They will finish the point and complete it. Dan Clinton, our other co-commentator here, was in that Spirit timeout, or is next to it. Can you provide us some insight into what was happening?
Yeah, they were just trying to figure out how this game is going to end. At this stage, Krank still have an opportunity to win, rather, not win. I've got wind on the brain. They still have an opportunity to win here, so I believe they're going to play on, and I don't blame either side. I don't think the Mudlarks are really going to begrudge Krank for having a crack here. Matt Hill, however, did have a good point. He said, we've had half an hour of trying, and we're still continuing. But at hard cap, which is in not very long at all, this is going to be taken out of Krank's hands, and it will be game over regardless.
It's also worth noting that 60+ km/h winds falls into the category as a Category 3 cyclone, according to Hillary Holmes. So this is a Category 3 cyclone we're dealing with right now.
I don't think that's right, guys.
It's the word from the Bureau of Meteorology correspondent.
I'm going to take that one with a grain of salt. So Geelong hustling down, bit of defence. Tim Booth taking his time. I think Tim Booth is kind of, I think he's happy to see the result go as it sits. His team, his younger team, they still wanted to fight. We see all the players in the 10 metres between the right hands in the near side sideline.
What even is that throw?
Yeah, what are we doing here? Like, at the end of the day, like, why are we still here?
It makes you question your life and your decisions that
really
you've made up to this
my own
point.
mortality while watching this game.
These men need to take a leaf out of the women's book. The women behind us in their final
Quick score.
have already put one on the board. They've been playing for a total of about 2.5 minutes and they're 1-0 up.
They're having no issues over there. No issues at all. I believe that's the that's a women's final over there.
Oh, Laney with the grab. And the hook. Yeah. Oh, that might work. Sophie Bell! Sophie! She does leave her feet, Sophie Bell.
So close. And Bell's going to go on the mark. Tim Booth against the window washing Bell. Booth goes with the backhand. It is incomplete. So Matt Hill's going to pick it up and go with the forehand. That's blocked. And the throw out of bounds. Yeah, the women's final has started behind us. So I'm not sure what that does to our coverage, but I don't think it's good news.
We will swing around as soon as this men's one finishes. And we'll try and give you updates so we can. Manly have jumped out to 1-0 against Chaos, who are over from Perth.
Matt Hill leaning slightly as he walks to the spot, and he calls double team, and calls double team again.
Calls time out, in fact.
Yeah, I think he's
No.
going to call a violation. So Matt Hill will retain the disc. Looks like it comes in on 0. And Hill goes with a backhand that'll go back to him, mostly. Tim Booth picking it up again.
We have passed the point of absurdity now.
Well, that is the definition of insanity, doing the same things over and over again and expecting a different result. It has been the same thing.
Oh, so Bell with the huge smackdown D.
Oh, getting her hands up and in the way.
Good, Sophie. Get in it.
It's interesting.
Oh,
Matt Hill shaking his head. He's going to call timeout here. This was mentioned he has 2 timeouts remaining, and he was thinking maybe they just call timeout over and over again until hard cap goes.
He actually went to drop the disc on the ground there, and the wind pushed it away. So those are the conditions that we're dealing with.
Well,
What does he say to his team?
says congratulations on getting through to the final, guys. Let's go get some heavier discs.
Yeah, weighted frisbees maybe. That's what they do.
I remember when I first started playing, I got conned by one of those websites, the like disc store or something, and they had a ultra high wind frisbee, which was 210 grams. So the traditional 175. Impossible to throw. The lip was so big.
All right, we're going to take a quick break and we'll see what happens out of these timeouts.
Oh. Rex wants us to do women's.
I'm not commentating it,
So, here we have the women. It is Manly and Chaos battling the same conditions that have been affecting the men's game. And we can just tell you now, the men are shaking hands. They're done. They're wrapped up. They're finished. Dan, what happened? What's going on over there?
Yeah, they're just going to call it. They're thrown in the towel. It's all over. It's done with. We've seen a result. The Mudlarks have gritted it out, and they've beat Krank in possibly the most absurd weather we've ever seen. Thank you for joining us, guys. Thank you for toughing it out. We're going to swing over to the women's final.
Don't go anywhere.
Don't go anywhere at all.
It'll actually just stay on this stream, so don't even need to switch out of your browser if you're joining us. The women's match is continuing, and they're looking to